When I was first given this assignment and given Senator Obama as the candidate that I was supposed to trail, I expected to be out for just a couple of months.
CBS producer Maria Gavrilovic began covering Barack Obama in September 2007, 14 months ago.
When you're doing something like this, is there any room to follow sports, TV shows, whatever else?
Absolutely not.
Producer John Bentley covered the McCain campaign from the end of the primary season through Election Day.
I mean, your whole life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is the candidate you're covering. So you become an expert in John McCain or Barack Obama, but anything else that was in your life before that is sort of pushed aside.
You were in Germany, and I guess in a number of places in Europe and the Mideast when President-elect Obama went. What was most unusual about that?
It was amazing to see the enormous crowds, and the crowd in Berlin was 200,000 people came to hear him speak then, and that was his biggest crowd ever. And just to see the enthusiasm and the people gather at hotels and gather at restaurants that he went to, even at the airport, holding American flags.
When Obama was in Europe, the McCain campaign sort of responded with humor. And one of the things they did while he was over there, McCain went to Sturgis, which is this huge motorcycle rally held every year.
A couple of 100,000 Berliners made a lot of noise for my opponent. I'll take the roar of 50,000 Harleys any day.
You always end up seeing certain events and photos that the candidate wished they avoided. And it seems like one of them with Barack Obama was this bowling outing.
During the Pennsylvania primary, he had a lot of trouble coming across as your everyday man. We saw him, drinking beer, and he would have a couple of sips and do that. But then one day we went to a bowling outing with him. So, he got to the bowling alley and put on his shoes and started bowling, but he bowled, he'd get up one pin or two down, and he bowled a lot of gutter balls, and he was there with Senator Bob Casey, who was an excellent bowler. And you saw his competitive streak there. He wouldn't let it go. I mean, he bowled and bowled and bowled. He said we made him look like a bad bowler.
You got to see a different John McCain, at the end especially, than the John McCain that a lot of people saw in 2000. There was a lockdown, really, in terms of press availability. How was that?
When he won in the primaries, he would have us all in the back of the Straight Talk Express, his bus. He would talk literally for hours to reporters.
I made the mistake of answering.
And then around July, they had a new campaign manager in. He was sequestered, and towards the last few months of the campaign, he very, very rarely, I think there were 2 press conferences with his National Press Corps. When you don't have a chance to talk to them, that makes it very rough for us to do our job.
What is most surprising, or most surprised you, about being inside the kind of bubble that you didn't expect?
When you're in the bubble, you're completely cut off from the rest of the world. You're listening to his speeches and doing what you need to do, and that's it. And you're cut off from reality. You had no sense of what went on outside of that.
Toward the end, how many hours of sleep a night were you averaging?
Very few. The day before Election Day, November 3rd, we started in Miami, Florida at 5:30 a.m., did 7 states in one day, and ended up in Phoenix about 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we got up on Election Day, and he went and campaigned, did a couple more stops in Colorado and New Mexico before coming back home to Phoenix. It was exhausting, it was exhilarating, but it was pretty grueling as well.
Even though you get 3-4 hours of sleep for months at a time, you have this adrenaline that you feel every single day. I mean, the story is great. There's a lot of pressure to break news and to be on top of the news, but it's exhilarating, and the adrenaline just keeps you going.